Fashion Week stunner, Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo make a dazzling red carpet debut together. What truly happened on that runway, and why did one single moment, just a few seconds of shared presence between two of Asia's most influential stars, shift the entire atmosphere of Fashion Week, sending the press into a frenzy, fans into disbelief, and industry insiders scrambling to rewrite their predictions for the months ahead? This question echoed across every corner of the fashion world the moment Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo appeared side by side, not by accident, not by spontaneous coincidence, but in a coordinated entrance so meticulously crafted that even the most seasoned reporters stood frozen, unsure whether they were witnessing a professional collaboration or the beginning of a seismic shift in celebrity alliances. Hold on tight, C-drama family. The world of your favorite celebrities is unfolding before your eyes, and every moment is more breathtaking than the last. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now, because trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next. It began long before the flash of cameras, long before the glossy black car pulled up to the marble-lined entrance of the event venue, and long before spectators realized they were about to witness something unprecedented. Hours earlier, inside a private styling suite overlooking the city, Song Hye Kyo stood before a floor-to-ceiling mirror, her gown cascading around her like liquid silver. Stylists busied themselves with last-minute details, adjusting fabric, testing lighting against the shimmer of her dress, ensuring every angle captured her aura of timeless elegance. There was a calmness in her gaze, the kind that only comes from years of walking global red carpets, yet beneath that calmness lay something different, an awareness that tonight's appearance carried weight far beyond fashion. Down the hall, separated by only a few security guards and layers of strict confidentiality, Lee Min-ho prepared an dressing suite of his own. A black tailored suit with subtle metallic undertones lay carefully pressed on a marble table, alongside accessories chosen not merely for aesthetics but for intention, each piece balancing masculinity with effortless sophistication. Assistants moved silently around him, adjusting the lines of his jacket, aligning the cuffs, perfecting the silhouette that the cameras would capture from every possible angle. Though the room was filled with activity, Min-ho exuded a quiet focus, the kind of stillness that comes before the breaking of a major wave. The collaboration between the two stars had been whispered about within inner fashion circles for weeks, though nothing was confirmed. Rumors circulated about a luxury brand attempting the impossible, pairing two titans of the industry for a single red carpet moment. Negotiations were said to be delicate, schedules nearly impossible to align, and confidentiality clauses tighter than ever. Yet on the evening of the show, as journalists gathered outside and fans pressed against barricades under a sea of umbrellas, those whispers began to take shape in the rising anticipation, as though the crowd sensed that something extraordinary was about to unfold. The first sign came when the event's security formation shifted, subtle, but noticeable to trained eyes. Guards began repositioning, cameras redirected focus toward the main entrance, and the buzz in the crowd reached a trembling pitch. Photographers tightened their grips on their lenses. Fans raised their phones, breath caught somewhere between excitement and disbelief. The atmosphere shifted in an instant. Then the car arrived. A sleek black vehicle pulled to a silent stop, its presence commanding the red carpet even before the doors opened. The crowd hushed, as though collectively inhaling. The first door opened on the right side, and Song Hye Kyo stepped out, her gown catching the soft golden lighting and scattering it in a dazzling array of reflections that wrapped around her like celestial armor. She moved with an elegance so measured, so effortless, that the entire carpet seemed to pause, adjusting itself to her rhythm. For a brief moment, she stood alone, greeting the audience with a gentle nod, the epitome of composure. But then, before the murmurs of admiration could settle, the second door opened, and Lee Min-ho emerged with a confidence that carried the weight of years spent as a global icon. His stride was steady, purposeful, and commanding, the kind of entrance that transformed a simple appearance into a cinematic sequence. And then it happened. With perfect timing, he stepped beside her. Not behind, not ahead. Beside. Side by side, their silhouettes aligned under the flashing lights, creating an image so unexpected, so visually striking, that the entire red carpet erupted into a frenzy. Photographers shouted their names with desperate urgency, trying to capture the exact angle that would define headlines for days. Fans screamed, their voices rising with disbelief, some convinced this moment was staged for a massive announcement, others certain it was simply a once-in-a-lifetime collaboration that would never be repeated. But regardless of interpretation, the effect was undeniable. The red carpet had shifted from a fashion showcase into a cultural moment. As they walked together toward the main backdrop, the chemistry between them, subtle, elegant, and perfectly balanced, became impossible to ignore. There was no exaggerated posing, no forced theatrics. Instead, a natural synchronicity emerged, the kind that only comes from two performers who understood how to command attention without effort. Hye Kyo's calm smile softened the sharp edges of the flashing cameras, while Lee Min-ho's poised presence grounded the energy of the crowd. Their steps matched, their glances aligned, and with every stride, the atmosphere grew thicker with anticipation. Inside the venue, the reactions were instantaneous. Editors whispered urgently, stylists exchanged wide-eyed looks, and designers murmured to one another about the implications of this pairing. Industry veterans who had attended Fashion Week for decades admitted they had never witnessed an entrance quite like this, one that carried both the elegance of a high-fashion collaboration and the electric tension of a narrative the world wanted desperately to decipher. Was this a strategic move? A brand-driven pairing? A hint at a future project? Or was it something more, something quietly personal, something unspoken yet not entirely hidden? The speculation spread like wildfire, gaining strength as the two stars took their seats, their expressions serene, their poise unshaken, yet their aura impossible to ignore. The cameras continued tracking them throughout the show. Every shared glance, every slight lean toward one another to exchange a quiet comment, every synchronized reaction to the runway pieces became moments that fans would later replay, slow down, magnify, and study. The industry understood it immediately. This was not merely a Fashion Week appearance. This was a statement, intentional, powerful, and impossible to forget. And as the night unfolded, one truth became clear: Fashion Week had not simply welcomed two stars. It had witnessed an entrance that redefined the meaning of presence, partnership, and star power, leaving the world breathless and craving the next chapter. What happened backstage after that electrifying entrance became the core mystery that ignited an even larger wave of speculation, because once Lee Min-ho and Hye Kyo disappeared behind the velvet curtains and out of public view, the atmosphere shifted from orchestrated glamour to something far more intimate, unguarded, and revealing. The thunder of applause and the flashing of cameras became muffled behind the heavy drapes, replaced by the low hum of hushed conversations, the soft shuffle of high heels against polished floors, and the rapid footsteps of assistants and coordinators who were suddenly tasked with managing two of the most talked-about celebrities of the night. Yet even among the chaos, one thing became immediately clear: the connection between them did not fade when the camera stopped. Instead, it seemed to intensify, as if being away from public scrutiny allowed their true rapport to surface in a way that no lens could fully capture. As they stepped into the backstage corridor, dimly lit with warm gold fixtures that cast soft shadows against the walls, Lee Min-ho instinctively slowed his pace, allowing Hye Kyo to walk beside him rather than ahead. The coordinators guiding them tried to keep a professional distance, but they could not ignore the subtle, effortless synchrony in the way the two stars moved together. Hye Kyo's gown swept across the floor with a whispering grace, and Min-ho's presence beside her became an anchor, grounding her elegance with his quiet, unwavering steadiness. There was no need for loud conversation or exaggerated gestures. Instead, they communicated through glances, small nods, and the kind of silent understanding that forms only when two people are accustomed to reading each other's energy without strain. They reached a private waiting room where only the highest level of VIP guests were permitted entry, and once the door closed behind them, the outside world fell away with a suddenness that felt almost surreal. The room was styled minimally, with soft cream upholstery, a sleek glass table, and delicate floral arrangements that added a subtle calm to the air. For the first time that evening, both stars exhaled deeply, shedding the layers of public performance that Fashion Week demanded. Hye Kyo slipped gracefully into a seat near the window, her eyes drifting toward the reflection of city lights shimmering across the night sky. Lee Min-ho removed his jacket and draped it across the back of a chair, the simple gesture revealing a moment of vulnerability that was rare to see from someone so constantly photographed, analyzed, and mythologized. Their conversation began softly, almost hesitant at first, as though both were mentally recalibrating from the whirlwind of the red carpet. But soon the ease between them resurfaced, blossoming through warm laughter, small confessions about the unexpected chaos outside, and shared relief at having navigated the moment with composure. They spoke about the crowd's reaction, the sheer force of the flashes, the screams of fans who had waited for hours in hopes of witnessing something historic, and how surreal it felt to be the subjects of such explosive energy. The tone of their voices carried both gratitude and bewilderment, a mixture of humility and awareness of the magnitude of the moment they had just created.